Hello, everyone. This is Tommy at World of War Comics. Our next guest is an amazing writer creator. His name is Marcus Jardim. He is the comic creator of a new comic that currently has a Kickstarter. You can find all the information in the links that will be provided in the comment section, in the info section of our videos. So please check them out. Please support them. The comic book is called Toussaint. And it is an incredible comic book. It has history, it has vampires, it has all kinds of really cool stuff. Takes place in New Orleans. The comic is actually called The Battle of New Orleans. So if you go to Kickstarter and look up The Battle of New Orleans, you will find this Kickstarter. Please back it. A lot of other creators are backing this project because we really believe in it. And we think that this comic is a winner. The art is incredible. The story is awesome. And Marcus is an amazing guy. So without further ado, here's our interview. But before we get into the interview, please give us a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for all the great interview content that we're giving you from comic book creators, writers, and artists. All right, everyone, have a great one and enjoy. Well, hello, everyone. We have another amazing guest. Today, we have Marcus Jardim. Marcus, great to have you. Can't wait to talk about your new comic, Toussaint. I'll let you kind of share the rest of it, but man, I'm super excited to have you on. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you, Tom. I'm very happy to be here for the invitation and to be able to spread the word out about my comic book that's live on Kickstarter.
Yeah, it's live right now. So we're going to talk about the Kickstarter. You got 21 days left, so there's plenty of time for people to jump in. I think you're at about $1,800, so we have a little bit of a gap, so hopefully we could help close that a little bit. We're going to get the message out there. The art looks incredible. The story is amazing. So we're going to jump right in, man. Let's talk about all of that. But first, I think people want to get to know you a little bit better, Marcus. So maybe, I know we talked a little bit before we hit record about your history in comics, but I think that's really important to talk about. Maybe kind of tell us how you came into comic books to begin with.
Yeah. So basically, I have a history degree. Back in college, I study history, and primarily I focus on Afro-Brazilian history. And the Haitian Revolution has such a big impact throughout the world that it influenced diverse people and all over Latin America and the world. So when I was doing my research, there was a big rebellion in Brazil called the Mali Revolt, and which was inspired by the Haitian Revolution, and that sparked my interest. And I came to learn more about Haiti and the revolution. Yeah. And jumping ahead, I went on to do my master's in social work, and then during the time the pandemic came.
Yeah.
And then during the pandemic, it was a very difficult time. Yeah. For me, for everybody, and I was like, since I'm a kid, I always like storytelling. Yeah. I kind of put that aside to focus in school, and things like that, and whatever else was going on outside. But with the pandemic, yeah, being alone had its benefits, because I got to think more. Yeah. Yeah. And then it just came to me, like maybe I should pursue my passion for telling stories. Yeah. And then I was like, at first I was like, how am I gonna do this? Yeah. I was like, am I gonna write a book? Or am I gonna go into movies? I don't really have a film background. And then for some reason, comic book just came to me. I was like, that's kind of like something in between,
Sure.
Stuff. And then I just rediscovered my passion. When I was young, I used to really like. Well, it's not very known here in the U.S. Originally, I'm from Brazil. There was a very famous comic book there called Monica's Gang. Yeah, it's like a little children's comic. I used to really like Prince Valent.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this one. And then
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I started rediscovering, and I'm like, and then I started like, let me get into comics. I started reading. I read like Spider-Man issue 1, and but like I still have that history background, and one of the things I know as somebody who loves history is that most people do not share that interest.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Unless something sparks that interest.
Exactly, yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, then maybe I can, do a fun story
Yeah.
and introduce history at the same time. You know what I'm saying? So then I was like, I really love Haiti. I love the Haitian history and culture.
Yeah.
So I'm about Haiti, and then it just came to me. It's like I incorporate the spirit of creativity during the pandemic. That I was like, why don't I do a story about vampires taking over New Orleans and Toussaint Louverture,
Yeah.
the, the leader of the Haitian Revolution, is brought back to life and leads this revolution, and it's supposed to be a very fun comic, lots of battle scenes and but also introducing Haitian aspects of Haitian history and culture.
Yeah.
Hopefully will spark people to read about it and learn more about it. And, there are lots of good books or comic books, even about, Haitian history and culture. And yeah, I really want to be able to, be part of a movement that helps portray Haiti in a very positive, in a positive way that they deserve, because usually in the media is always something negative, and you know I mean, of course, like every country has its issues, but I
Absolutely.
think also learn about the good things and what they've done in the world. I mean, they're the first country to abolish slavery and the first Black Republic. That's no small deal. They beat the French in the Napoleon era, and also the British and Spanish empires.
Wow.
For that's not no small achievement, and I think that they deserve credit for that. Haitians are smart. They know their history, but the thing is, other people, they need to know more.
Yeah. Especially like you said, the revolutions that it sparked after that, right? And you were mentioning earlier how Brazil, right, was watching, and there was a huge encouragement even in Brazil, right? In the same way. So maybe talk a little bit about that from a historical standpoint of what that meant in Haiti, that revolution, to other Central and South American countries.
Yes. So, like I said, Haiti was the first country to abolish slavery and and became the first Black Republic.
Yep.
And that sparked, like first it was the American Revolution, then there was the Haitian Revolution. So the Haitian Revolution was among the first in the Americas to gain the independence, and the Haitian Revolution, because it was a revolution led by enslaved people, had a very huge impact, especially among people who found themselves in the same situation,
Sure.
enslaved Africans and their descendants. And Brazil, in fact, has the biggest Black population after Nigeria.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah, if you look at the history, in the transatlantic slave trade, the majority went to Brazil. A good portion. So, in Brazilian aspect, there was a big revolt. I believe, yeah, it was the biggest urban slave revolt in the Americas. It was in Salvador, Bahia, which is the African capital of Brazil. Studies a show that by respectable historians that they were inspired by the Haitian Revolution. They found necklaces like with with Haiti, drawing, for inspiration, and I
That's
think
awesome.
it's interesting. But even more than that, I don't know if you're familiar with the historical figure Simon Bolivar.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
People
It's
don't know.
everywhere. You go to South America and there's statues of him everywhere. In fact, I go to Peru quite often, and they have Plaza San Martin, and then right over they have Bolivar, and yeah, it's incredible. I mean, yeah, if you go to South America, you know who he is because he's everywhere.
Yeah, or even here in the United States, like
Yeah,
here in New York, they have some statues. I saw some in Washington. I haven't been to California yet. That's one of my goals one day.
yeah, yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, if you come, man, you got a spot here, my friend.
Thank you, man. So yeah, many people don't know that Haiti supported Simon Bolivar, like
Mm,
giving arms and stuff. He was there in exile, and if you look at the flag of Venezuela, Colombia, and Ecuador, for example, you see it's like first it's like a yellow,
mm.
and then it's like red and blue. That was inspired by the Haitian flag, which is red and blue.
That's awesome.
Many people don't know that, that was this connection, and
I love it.
yeah. Ecuador, Colombia, and Venezuela used to be one country called Grand Colombia,
Mhm.
but then they split up. But they still kept the the colors of the flag, I guess. Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
yeah, so it's something that really had a very big impact in the world, and I think that it's a lot of people nowadays forgot about that. Like I said, in the media is always something negative, but it would be nice to have like some kind of recognition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. That's amazing. And you could definitely tell your passion for history, Marcus. I love it, man, because it's that passion, right, is the driving factor for your comic.
Yeah,
So, you have this history, you got your degree, your master's degree in history.
yeah.
You love oh, please, please.
The master's degree. So I'm a person
Of
with
psychology.
no, it's okay. I'm a person with multiple interests. So I have a
Oh, yeah,
history degree
please.
in college, and then my master's I did in social work, and now I'm in comics.
I'm not sure that makes 100% sense, Marcus, but I love it, man. I love it. So,
Yeah,
so we get into like the pandemic time frame, right? And
yeah,
here you have a lot of time to think. You decide, like, you take that passion for history, and then you create this story, and you decide, what a comic book would be the right um like the right foundation to be able to build this story upon and to gain some interest of readers. Like, how did that all come together that you thought, okay, comic is the right way to do this?
yeah. So like it's like I said, like there are already history books out there. There are many great history books,
Yeah, yeah,
but nobody's really reading them.
yeah. They're in a library somewhere, Marcus.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I really like film, but I'm not in the film industry.
Right,
So I'm,
right.
like, I don't know. It's like I said, I just incorporated the spirit of creativity, and comics just came to me, and then I started like thinking, how do I make a comic book? I started looking on YouTube how to write a script. I'm like, let me give this a try, right? And then I started like writing. I'm like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this. I'm like, oh, I actually got this, blah blah blah, and so I keep perfecting it, and I'm still, of course, I'm still learning. It's always a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that really made me pursue it, because back then, I was doing more as I was writing the script more as a hobby.
Yeah.
In a way, I was writing the story, but I didn't think I would share it to the world.
Mhm.
I thought it was just gonna be something for myself, really.
Yeah.
But then I showed my script to somebody who's into comics, And then he gave me like a huge compliment, which honestly I don't think I deserve, but I take it anyways. And he was like,
Take it.
he was like, "Oh, you remind me of Neil Gaiman and Frank Miller." And I'm like,
Those are big names, man.
yeah. To be honest, I was like,
That's awesome.
be honest, I didn't like. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know them when I
Yeah,
heard them. I was like, like, it was a rediscovered passion that I have. I was like years, just doing all the things. I think it's important to know that, I know that there are people who sometimes expect like, oh, you should be expect me to be into comics since like day one that I was born or something, read every issue. But I don't see nothing wrong as you get older and time progresses, you find new passions. There are people out there who look for something that that they really enjoy doing, and then they only find it like in their late 20s or in their 30s, 40s, or even like in their 60s or 70s. Everybody, there's a timing for everybody. So I went and I actually got myself the comic book from Neil Gaiman and Frank Miller. I got the Sandman by Neil Gaiman, and Frank Miller. I got Batman 1.
There you go. Yeah.
And I was like, this is a huge of a compliment. I'm like, these guys are amazing.
Yeah, for sure.
Neil Gaiman specifically, he has like this. There's this one page in the Sandman comic that I read. I'm like, that's my favorite page of all time. I'm like, I was so fascinated how he put the words together.
Yeah.
I was so impressed. I was like, this is the most beautiful thing, and and the artwork is great. I think artwork in comics is great. It captures a reader's attention. I read, I have your comic. I backed your Kickstarter as well. I really like the story there. The art is amazing, and I think the comics is so great, honestly.
Nah, it's a lot of fun, man, and I'm glad that you found the passion. There is all kinds of room for a historian, social worker, comic book writer that has a passion for Haitian history, man. I love it, man. It's so unique. And like you said, these stories are extremely important in history. And, what's the best way to get as many people, especially younger people, to learn about that history, man? Put it in comic book form. And I love it. And if you go to the Kickstarter and you look at the artwork, man, the artwork is incredible. So it's a very high quality comic book that you're putting together. Marcus, you should be very proud. Maybe we could really quickly talk about the team, right? So we have MP Legros. Can you give us a little bit about her and what she meant to the development of the story and the history?
Yes. So my editor, NP Legros, she's a Haitian American. And this is somebody that I know personally.
Yeah.
And when I came up with this idea, I approached her about it, and she and we came to an agreement. She's very proud of her Haitian background.
Yeah.
And she was like, wow, this is a good way to put Haitian history out there, at least spark the interest of people. And so we teamed up, and she became my editor. She was fundamental because she not only did she added I have plenty of like spelling mistakes which she added, but she went in depth into make sure that I'm getting the history right, the cultural aspect, because even though I did I'm not an expert in Haitian history,
right.
But some, there are people who know a lot more than me,
sure,
right? Sure. But even though, like in the books, it doesn't talk much about it. I haven't like about the the culture, like the food and all these things. So she brought a lot of that into to really like enrich the story, and she has been a very very good partner to help me, make the story and make it legit, something that Haitians can be proud of. They'll know that it's legit. I made sure everything that I wrote, I always pass on to her and make sure that if she doesn't like something, I always change.
Yeah, yeah.
I always left the final word to her in order to honor what she does for me and her, because and her, her Haitian background. So
Absolutely.
yes, I'm very happy that she's on board with me. It means a lot.
That's awesome. And then maybe we could talk about your artist, Gabriel.
Yeah, so it's interesting because he has the same last name as me, Jardim.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he might be like some kind of distant cousin in Brazil. Originally I'm from Rio de Janeiro, which is in in the southeast, and he's in all the way in the northeast in the Paraíba state.
Okay.
I came across him because when I want to make a comic, I started studying artists, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to get an artist that knows what who is talented and knows how to draw Black characters.
Yeah.
So something that was important for my editor and I, because it's good to have proper representation.
Absolutely.
And from what I've seen on his Instagram page, he does a very very good artwork representing people of color in Brazil. And so I hit him up and I told him about the story, and he got interested. It's his first time working in a comic for that's published in the United States. Nice. So he's very happy. Before he did stuff in Brazil, and I believe in India as well. He did a comic for India, and this is like his first appearance in the American scene, the USA. So he's very excited to be on board. I'm even more excited to have him with me, and we both have the same name. So
brothers from the other side of the country, huh? The jokes.
Yeah, what's funny? My brother, his name is also Gabriel Jardim.
It was meant to be, man. It was meant to be, Marcus.
Yeah, like the universe aligns,
Yeah. I mean, Brazilian has some of the best artists in comics right now. You have Jorge Menez, who does Batman, Catwoman. Check him out. It's probably one of the best artists in all of comics right now. He's up there at the top, man. But yeah, Brazil pumps out some amazing artists. Incredible.
Yeah, hopefully I can spark the the movement to have Brazilian writers as well. I think that could be out there. Brazilians have a very good story to tell, so they just need we just need an opportunity, really.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's so cool. Well, I'm glad that you found a really good artist. Like I said, if you go to the Kickstarter and you look at the Kickstarter, you'll see several pages and several covers as examples, and it looks so good, so vibrant. I can't wait to read it, Marcus. I can't wait to read it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. That's so cool, man. So the Kickstarter started, so it's a 30-day Kickstarter. We have 21 days left, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, 21 days.
21 days, man. And so we just want to help get the word out there. Everyone who's listening, please check it out. They could, if you go into Kickstarter, you just have to search Toussaint, right?
Yeah, it's Toussaint Overture, the Battle for New Orleans, but you can just put the Battle for New Orleans and it should show up.
Yeah. No, it's awesome.
Or it can be a little complicated name for those who are not familiar, but there's the Battle of the New Orleans part, so that's you can find it there, and it's an action/horror comic book, and you can find it, and you can find everything there. You got the page samples, you got the character designs, you have the whole team there and their bios, and yeah, it's I think it's on, I believe it's something that people will really enjoy reading. It's a very fun, exciting comic with action scenes and vampires, and it can get gory sometimes, but
Yeah. I
that's
love
what's
it. I love
and I made sure to portray New Orleans in a very good way too. I use a lot of the French Quarter. There are scenes in the French Quarter where there's vampires playing jazz and eating people, drinking their blood. You know, instead of drinking alcohol,
Yeah.
people listen jazz and drinking a beer or something. It's vampires drinking blood and playing jazz. So
That's
it's
cool, man.
yeah, it's a very it's very people will like it. They get it, I guarantee. This is my first comic book, my first Kickstarter campaign ever.
Yeah.
But like the team and I put a lot of hard work. I worked with for my special cover with Marvel and DC artist,
Yeah.
Yavel Guichet, who is a Haitian American comic book artist, and he's been working with DC and Marvel since the '90s. He did things like Batman, Black Panther, Superman, Black Lightning, and many more. And and Chris Summers, the colorist for the special cover, also done important works out there. Very nice guy, and I'm very happy. I was so glad. I'm gonna tell you this.
Yeah.
I approached Yavel, right, and I approached him as a fan, because his artwork is amazing. If you look at him, I tell everybody, like, please follow him and give him the recognition that he deserves. He's an amazing artist. And, I didn't expect, because I'm a newcomer, he's somebody with so much,
Experience.
so much experience. I didn't think he would give me the time of day, to be honest. But I was like, let me talk to him and see. And then he got curious, and I started talking to him about the story and my motives, in history and my personal life, relations to Haiti. And then he gave me a chance, and he took his time to make like a very, very nice cover, honestly. Like, and it was the first time because, and even though he has this big experience in comics, it was the first time that he's finally been able to draw Toussaint over tour. And this is something that he always wanted, but never been given the chance to, so I'm very happy that he gave me a chance. Not a lot of people give you a chance like that in life. And I'm very happy to be able to give him the gift of drawing Toussaint in the cover, fighting vampires. So it's comics is I'm like more important than making than making comics itself is the relationships that I'm building with people, with my team, having a talk with a really cool dude like you. These are things that I never thought would be possible. I'm meeting people from all over the country and the world. Like, you're from California, I'm here in New York. My team, I have team from Brazil. I told you my artist Gabriel, he's in the Northeast, and the colorist, she's in another state, more like by the West coast. Also, it's like, and it's just, I love it how it brings people together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely does, man. And the stories do too, right? And I think a lot of people want to read really interesting stories and unique stories. And that's why I love indie comics. You have the DC and the Marvel, which I obviously love, man. I collect a lot of their stuff. I read their comics. But they're very limited on where they could go with certain stories because they have this long history of canon that they have to hold to, right? So you're not going to see Daredevil all of a sudden, flying in outer space. At least I don't think so. I mean, he could. It's still a comic, right? But they have this history of who Daredevil is, and you're not going to change that, right? It's just not going to make sense. And I think a lot of Daredevil fans don't want it changed because they like who that character is. But then you come to the independent side of comic books, and then you get something like yourself, right? That doesn't fit in a DC or Marvel. My comic doesn't fit in DC and Marvel, right? That's just not how it works. But you have this whole world of independent comics where it's wide open, and actually there's a desire for stories like yours because they just don't exist. So that's why I love independent comics. That's why I love having independent comic creators come on, because they have some amazing stories that you're just not going to hear anywhere else. And when you put it all together with an amazing artist and storyline and all that good stuff, man, all of a sudden, yeah, man, I can't wait to read this. It sounds amazing. So maybe we could talk without, I don't want to give anything away in the comic, because we want people to go to the Kickstarter and support it. But maybe just very small, give us a little bit of a top line of what the exact story takes place. And I think it's written already in your Kickstarter. And so maybe we just kind of stick to that, so we don't give, anything away, so that people are surprised when they pick it up.
Yeah. So basically, a man, I'll try to not to give spoilers. Me personally, I like spoilers, but I know like
No, it's up to you. It's your comic, my friend. Marcus, it's your comic,
No.
man. But we don't want to give like the punchline to the whole comic away. Let's make them buy it, right?
Yeah. So basically, a man with a troubled past, let's just keep it like that.
All right.
He makes a pact with Dracula's spirit, thinking that he can use Dracula's power, to do good, to bring law and order to New Orleans, and as the series progresses, we're gonna learn more about him, and it's gonna make people examine how certain policies can have negative impacts on individuals and communities. So, keeping at that, so he incorporates Dracula's spirit and becomes Dracula himself. I really like this character because, again, people love vampire stories, but you don't see a lot of Black vampire characters, so I wanted to give like show something diverse. I feel like you say, like in the independent comic world, you get to bring new stories, not you don't stick in the same, so anyways, he goes and starts biting people and turning them into vampires. Eventually he conquers New Orleans. So during the day, mercenaries patrol, human mercenaries patrol in order to gain protection from the vampires. And then at nighttime the vampires come out and they have a feast, on human blood and all that stuff. And yeah, so New Orleans so people are oppressed and things are really dark. But then a voodoo priestess named Madame Marie, she performs a ritual that brings Toussaint Louverture back from the spirit world, and with the mission to lead the revolution. So he comes in, and then right away he already starts fighting vampires, and then as time progresses, in issue 1 he gets to meet the other revolutionaries, because there is already a revolution going on. They're just on the losing side, and Toussaint is able, fights alongside them, and this is very important because of his leadership, and he's also given like extra strength because vampires have more. It has they're a lot stronger than a regular person. So a regular person cannot fight them one-on-one in combat. Toussaint can beat them, like a whole bunch of them all at once. Kick them, and then they fly away, and then he then he starts gaining the trust, and then as the other issues progress, we're gonna look more into the character of Dracula, what made him do what he did, make the pact with Dracula's spirit, and we're gonna start, digging further into Haitian history, and there's gonna be a lot, there's a revolution human, so there's gonna be tensions and drama among the characters. There's gonna be a whole lot of and new characters will be coming up. I just haven't shared them yet because they'll be coming up in the next issues. And yeah, this is meant to be a mini series, like a 4 issue. So it's gonna be lots of battles, vampires, and history, and drama between the characters. People are really gonna, it's a story that I'm confident that when you read it, you're gonna enjoy it. The issue 1 has a very I made it purposely to have like a big impact, like a big statement.
I love it, man. I love it. Well, it sounds amazing, Marcus. I love the storyline, and yeah, some of the characters. Maybe we could talk a little bit about that. So, is Michael, Diego, some of those, are those the mercenaries that are in the street?
No, these are the revolutionaries.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So I already mentioned Toussaint. I already mentioned Madame Marie.
Yeah.
Before the revolutionaries, I just want to say a quick thing about Madame Marie.
Sure.
It's voodoo. When I ever see stories about voodoo, it's always like something like spooky and evil. So I want to like show it through a different perspective, because there's a time and place for everything. My thing is when the narrative is like too repetitive, so people are not aware, but voodoo, when they're with the rituals, people wear like white or colorful clothes, they dance, it's and the Haitian Revolution actually started first with the voodoo ceremony that sparked the Haitian Revolution. So I'm bringing kind of that into this story, where this person named Madame Marie, she does the voodoo ritual and brings Toussaint. She's going to be a very interesting character because her power, her spiritual connection with the spirit world, and her powers are going to increase throughout the story. So, yeah. So people are really gonna be very impressed with what they see, she become. And then there are the revolutionaries. There's Emily, Michael, Diego, and Cameron. So Emily she's a Haitian American in her 20s, and she's the main leader of the revolution. She gained the respect of the revolutionaries through her leadership and bravery.
Yeah.
So she has a very big impact in the revolution, because what she says, others follows, So it's going to be an interesting relation, because if Toussaint can gain her trust, most likely the other revolutionaries will begin to trust him too, because you have to understand, imagine you're a regular person chilling in New Orleans, and then all of a sudden vampires take over, and now somebody back from the dead and then he's wearing like a like a 18th century clothing, and you're gonna be like, what's going on, man? Who can I really trust him? Is he really with us, or is he just another super natural thing going on? And then there's Michael, and Michael is her boyfriend for a couple of years, and they are college sweethearts, and he's her right hand man. He's very protective in a good way. He's willing to fight and protect it to no matter what. They both have a very good relation with each other. They all these characters were forced to be in the situation. They all had like pretty normal lives, and they had to rise up to the occasion.
Sure.
And then there's Diego. He is of Hispanic background, and he has scars in his face, which he wears proudly, because it shows his bravery. And then there's Cameron. Cameron is proud to be from New Orleans. He has like the tattoo of the New Orleans symbol on his arm. I made sure to put that there to give a shout out to New Orleans, And Diego and Cameron are more like minor characters. The big ones really is Toussaint, Madame Marie, Emily, and Michael in some aspect. That's why, I have this really cool cover drawn by Gabriel, and so I have this cover drawn by Gabriel, which has like Toussaint holding a sword, and so one half is Madame Marie, and then Michael and Emily, holding their weapons, and then on the other half of Toussaint's face, it's our Dracula, with the clothing and stuff, and like vampires with blood and things like that, So you can tell from that cover who the main characters are: Toussaint, Emily, Michael, Madame Marie, the Voodoo Priestess, and Dracula. Yeah. The other vampires are random vampires. They aren't anyone in specific in that cover.
Nice, man. Well, it sounds awesome. I did see that cover as I was going through the Kickstarter. So I would say get over to Kickstarter, look up the Battle for New Orleans, and then check out. You got all examples of covers. You have examples of pages. You also have pages that kind of go into detail like you just did on the characters. You get to meet actually the team that you work with to put this book together. So there's pictures and a little bio for each one. I mean, you did a really good job setting up the Kickstarter, you and your team. And man, you could find any information that you need on that Kickstarter. It's very well detailed. And man, it looks awesome. I cannot wait to get it.
Thank you.
When do you think it'll go into print and ready to ship once the Kickstarter is done?
Yeah, so digitally, because the comic book is pretty much complete. Yeah. So digitally, we're just finishing up the last few pages of lettering, but that's gonna be complete like by Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah.
And it's 21 days left. So digitally, September.
Okay.
I have September, so to send it to people.
Yeah.
And then for shipping, I have a set up deadline for November. But keep in mind, I'm putting these days just to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
Like in case there's some kind of delay or whatever. I don't expect any issue. I'm gonna be using Comics Wellspring.
Oh, they're great. They're awesome.
So I don't really expect any issue. But since this is my, first comic book, and I'm learning as I go. I wanted to be on the safe side, and I put it for November. But most likely, backers will get there much sooner.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I cannot wait to hold mine in my hand, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, man.
I know you're gonna like it.
I know I will. I mean, I think the story is awesome, and I enjoy history as well. So I can't wait to learn aspects of history that I haven't been really exposed to, because in school in the U.S., right, most of our history is U.S. based, so we don't get a lot of that. You do, but it's not in that kind of a detail, and so I'd rather learn it in your comic than anywhere else, my friend.
Yeah, there's many interesting history out there. I remember, in junior high school, it was the American history, George Washington to the president, and then high school is repeated. They start back from George Washington until the end. So I think it's good for people to learn more, and even American history too. There's a lot that public school doesn't mention. So
there's a lot of stories out there to kind of jump into, and I mean your story is American history too, right? In a sense, right? It's in New Orleans, and we're going to learn a lot about the culture there, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah, like it's interesting you mentioned that, because actually, I chose New Orleans because of the historical and cultural connection it has with Haiti, because New Orleans was also a French colony.
Absolutely.
At the same time that Haiti was, there's also voodoo there, Haiti voodoo, New Orleans voodoo. So there's a lot of cultural. In fact, the Louisiana Purchase, when the United States bought, that land from the French, was largely due because the French lost to the Haitian Revolution, so they had to sell that. They're like, oh, we gotta get rid of the Americans and focus on our wars here in Europe. So.
Yeah, they were running out of money, right?
Yeah.
Desire to fight, because you start to lose that many warriors. All of a sudden, man, you start to lose interest in what you thought was going to be another portion of their empire that they had at one time. So I mean, thanks to the Haitian warriors that won, right? I think that helped a lot of countries get out of that situation.
Yeah, and maybe, sorry, just maybe, that would be other Haitian heroes, but I don't know. But people are gonna have to comic book help me, get the Kickstarter campaign goal funded. Just to let you know, the campaign goal is solely to cover for the art. And to help with shipping. That's all what the campaign asks for. You have to realize, I think people who don't create comics may sometimes not understand or even appreciate how much hard work is put into making comics. I know this as a comic book creator, but it's a lot, especially high quality comic book with the art and lettering and all that. It takes time. Like for an artist to draw a page, it can take like 8 hours a day or more. It's a lot of hard work, and the team and I made sure that this was gonna be something that people read and really enjoy, and Haitians, when they read it, they can be proud of it as well. We all made sure that it was something like really high quality for people.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think that's an unknown for most people that enjoy comic books, is really how expensive it is also to produce a comic book, right? Because you're paying page rates. And those page rates could be $100 to $500 a page, just depending on who the artist is. You got to pay a colorist, you got to pay a letterer, right? You still got to put the whole comic book together. You got to go to a place like a Comic Wellspring, and you have to figure out how many comics you're going to have to purchase, right? And then that's just the beginning, right? If you really want to be successful and have a long-term career in it, you got to go to Comic Cons or places where comic fans are at. That way you could get exposure. You got to go on podcasts to talk about your comic book, right? There's a whole marketing side to it too, to let people know, look, hey, we're out here and we have a quality comic that we think you should read. And so, yeah, it gets pretty expensive. Trust me, my wife tells me how expensive my hobby is all the time, and you don't make much money out of it. So it's really got to be a passion for you, right? A passion in history, a passion for comic books, and a passion to telling stories. Because it's not going to make you rich. I can tell you that, at least not at the beginning, man. Only a few people cross that bridge to really start making a career out of it. It's really difficult to do. So it's got to be driven by other passions, to be quite honest.
Yeah, that's what's really about is the passion. So to do it and spread, your stories to the world, and for people to have, somebody, you never know, like somebody out there and in the world, might be feeling a bit down, depressed or something, and then they come across your comic and they read it and they have a good time, and they forget about some of the troubles in life, like it can have that, it can have that kind of impact. Like if you look at what Stanley done with all those superheroes, it inspired so many people around the world, and indie creators too, with with the stories that we create. It's just, it's inspiring, honestly.
Absolutely. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of room for a lot of more stories to come too. So I think you're in the right space, my friend. We're glad that you enjoy comics. So I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, I have other stories too, but this is the beginning.
We just got to win the lottery so we can tell them all, man.
Yeah, I have some really cool ones planned out, but I felt like this one was a good because it was an important message to put out there. It addresses, because like I said, not only is a fun comic to read, but it addresses things about Haitian history and culture, policies that can affect how it affects communities, individuals, and even international affairs. How some policies, international policies, could have affected other countries, such as Haiti. So these things are good to know about. Like, I feel like life, is always good to learn something new every day. So you gotta push yourself to learn as much as possible. It's amazing to learn, and there's nothing, in my opinion, nothing greater to learn while having a blast. Seeing fires getting killed and drinking blood and playing and all that. So yeah.
That's awesome, Marcus. I'm so happy for you. I'm glad that the story is done. You're just waiting on a little bit of lettering. That's got to be a good feeling to know that you're at the very end. You can see the finish line, because it's a little stressful, right, as you're going through the process.
Yeah, it took months to complete it, and Kickstarter, it's like a full running a crowdfunding campaign is like a full-time job for me, because first one, make it double. So anxiety can kick in, and that, like, the first week was, like, I think the hardest one. Now we're like coming to this, like we just started the second week, and I'm starting to stay a bit more chill.
Exactly.
But days it was pretty intense. Like, because you have like a mental warfare in your, so it's
Well, in Kickstarter world, 21 days is a long time, but it will go fast. So I think hopefully anybody that listens to this goes to Kickstarter right away and takes a look at it. And yeah, you should be backing this. It's awesome, man.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course, Marcus. Well, Marcus, is there anything else that you want to leave us with before we say goodbye?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So this is my very first podcast ever.
Oh, nice, man. I'm glad that it was with me, man.
Yeah, I'm glad so too, because I was a bit nervous coming into this. I'm not like talking on camera, and I'm pretty much a private person in general. But I realize that in comics you have to expose yourself to some degree, to get your comics out there. So I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate it with you, because you made this very very chill and a good experience for me.
I'm glad.
And yeah, thanks. And to tell people, check out my comic again, Toussaint Overture, The Battle for New Orleans. It's now live on Kickstarter. 21 days left. There are variant there are covers and then variant covers. One of them being from Marvel and DC artists, Yavel Guichet and Chris Summers. And there's also amazing posters. I got 3 posters there if people want. I have the in digital and black and white as well option if people want that. And there are options of becoming a background character if people want to be in the background, either as a rebel or a vampire.
That's awesome.
throughout the series, and even get your own personalized drawing next to Toussaint and the Revolutionaries by Gabriel Jardim.
Nice, man. That's so
Yeah, people really like these rewards, so check it out, please.
yeah,
Support
yeah.
make data here.
Yeah, yeah. And then we'll put all your social also when we share this as well, Marcus. That way people could start following you too, because if you follow, you'll learn a lot more too over the next 21 days. So a lot of reasons to back the project, and I think it's going to be good, man.
Yes, and yeah, and that would really help people follow me, because I noticed that there's something a bit off. I spoke to all the creators. There's a bit something off with the algorithm lately, and I noticed that ever since Instagram started with this threads thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, like my stuff is not reaching people like it used to.
yeah.
And right when I launched my Kickstarter campaign. So it's been very difficult to. I'm gonna start distributing flyers at this point. I'm printing out some flyers, and my letterer, she's also my graphic designer.
Yeah.
And I help me set up some flyers, and I'm gonna go around the city distributing, because it's been very hard to reach people.
Yeah, I would definitely go to Midtown Comics and see if you can't leave some flyers there. I think they have several locations. I've been to a couple of them when I travel, and they're awesome comic book stores. I mean, it's the best comic book store in New York for sure. And they have a few of them. I think they have 4 or 5 if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, absolutely go into there, and you never know. I mean, there's a few comic creators in New York. I'm sure that Midtown is real supportive of indie comic creators, and hopefully they could also pick up your book and carry it in store too. That would be awesome,
Oh,
man.
that would be great. I definitely plan on. You ever been to the Times Square location one?
Yeah, yeah. We go all the way upstairs, and it's 2-story, and yeah, they got one of the largest graphic novel sections I've ever seen, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, yeah. It's an incredible store, and not only, and then there's the comics, and then when you go to their second floor, you have a view of the of Times Square as well,
Oh
right?
yeah.
The glass windows, so.
No, that's
So
awesome, man. I love going to every time I go there, I have to go to Midtown, man. I love that comic store, man. And they got
yeah,
everything. They got toys, they got everything imagined, man. Back issues. It's huge. It is huge. And if they don't have
yeah,
it, they can order it because they got their hands on everything.
yeah. That's why. There's also another one by because I live in Brooklyn. There's called a St. Mark's comic. I don't know if you have it, yeah, but they've been around for some time. But they used to be in St. Mark's, Manhattan, but then they moved out here to Brooklyn. I don't know the reason. Imagine it's because of rent. I don't know.
It's pretty expensive. Even to get
Yeah.
a hotel there, it's expensive.
Yeah, New York is expensive. California too is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you get to LA or San Francisco area, it gets pretty expensive. That's high rent district for sure.
Yeah. So it makes it extra difficult for indie creators. Live in these cities where it's pricey to live, and I graduated not too long ago, and so I'm still starting out with my career outside of comics. So it's I'm pretty much newcomer to everything in comics, career outside of comics. So,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. Well, we're glad you're in comics, Marcus. I'm glad that I've gotten to meet with you. I know we've gone back and forth quite a bit. I was at the Comic-Con this week, so I'm a little all over the place right now mentally, but I appreciate your flexibility on jumping on today because, although we've gone back and forth, this is our first time meeting, and I hope it's the first of many. You're welcome on the show anytime, and I'll certainly blast this all over social media. We want to see you hit your goal so that we could get that complete series of that story, that first arc of the story. We want to be able to read all of it.
Yes, and just one final message, if you don't mind.
Of course, Marcus. Yeah.
Guys, also please check out this comic right here. Yeah, this is an awesome. You see, like just a simple page, okay?
Yeah.
Awesome. See, like the art. it's amazing. I really like the story. And I appreciate the stickers. I really like the stickers too.
No problem, Marcus. I have plenty of stickers, my friend. Thank you so much, Marcus. I appreciate you doing that, man. But this is all about Marcus, man. This is all about the Battle of New Orleans. I appreciate it, man. I want to see you succeed on that Kickstarter. And man, if there's anything else we could do for you, especially over the next 21 days, let us know. And we're here for you, man. And we'll make sure we tag some of the other amazing indie creators. So hopefully they could share it as well. We all know how stressful a Kickstarter could be, right? Because, you know, unlike Indiegogo, where, you know, you get whatever people purchase, on Kickstarter, right, you have a goal. You got to hit that goal to get anything, man. So there's plenty of time. But I've done this before, and it gets really stressful that last week, man, especially if you haven't surpassed your goal yet. So
yeah, and to my backers, because some people ask me about this. Collect your pledge only like when the campaign is done. My campaign ends on August 13th.
Yep.
So you can back the project now. Select your reward. And you don't have to worry because you will not be charged right away. And don't worry, it's not a monthly payment. It's just once.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. That is important. Backing doesn't mean you bought anything. That just means you're making a commitment that if you hit the goal, you're willing to purchase one, right? So it's a real relationship between the creator and the purchaser, the fan, right? Like, I'm willing to invest in you, but you also got to sell yourself, right, in order to reach the goal, which as a creator is very stressful, but that's just the way Kickstarter works. And, it's the number one platform for comic creators by far.
Yeah, definitely. That's where indie comics, it managed to, stay alive in a way because without Kickstarter, because like we said, the work, the pricing to make, a comic book, unless you're like rich, like a millionaire or something, you don't really care. But often that's not the case.
Yeah, most of the time it's not.
Yeah. At one point when I was, finding out about comics and stuff, I was like, damn, it's pretty, pretty expensive. But I thought to myself, not always rich people have the best stories, so, so I figure I'm gonna go ahead and do this because,
yeah. I mean, that's what indie comics and Kickstarter has provided, right? It's not just major publishers that you have to go through to tell your story now. Anyone can tell their story. And Kickstarter provides the avenue for you to be able to tell that story by throwing it out there and see who else is interested to hear that story. And I think this is amazing story to be told. I love the aspect that there is some reality, right? Some historical facts that are interwoven with this world that's been created of Dracula and vampires and all that good stuff, right? And I think that's really cool, man, to be able to get some historical education on an amazing culture that probably isn't talked about enough, based upon their revolution sparking so many others. To be able to put all that together in a graphic novel to where you got vampires drinking blood, playing jazz and all this other stuff, yet you could walk away going, man, I really learned something. And there's a newfound respect for the people of Haitian, for the people of New Orleans and all that good stuff. It doesn't happen anywhere else in comics except for indie comics. And that's why I said, man, there's just so many stories to be told. And to your point, you and I wouldn't have this opportunity unless Kickstarter was there, because it is quite expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Well, right on, Mr. Marcus. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show. We'll put all the information in our links to be able to find out everything they need to find out about the Kickstarter. Also to follow you on all the social media, because that's where you're going to learn a lot of really good information, especially after a successful Kickstarter and you start to go into issue 2. People need to follow you to make sure that they understand all the dates and timelines and all that good stuff moving forward. So yeah, Marcus, I really appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for coming on, and hope you have a great rest of your Sunday.
Yeah, same to you, man. Once again, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity. I won't forget it. Thank you.
Absolutely, Marcus. Well, have a good one, my friend, and we'll talk soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Take it easy.